All right, I'm here with my good friend
Hello.
from Connecticut.
Yep.
Could you state your name?
Julie Graves Krishnaswami. I'm not really from Connecticut.
Where are you from?
From Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't you live in Connecticut?
I live in Connecticut now, but
Okay,
yeah.
but you consider yourself from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a New Englander.
Okay, New Englander. But we are not in New England.
No.
We're
Dallas.
Dallas, Texas. October, I think it's the 27th, maybe?
Close to Halloween.
It's getting close to Halloween. I
Yeah.
think it's the 27th.
Yep.
I'll correct that in the comments if that's not right. It's been a long weekend.
But
what are we doing here in Dallas, Julie?
Well, this is a Guided by Voices show.
You say that with a
Yeah.
sad face.
I know. We don't know when the next ones are.
We don't know when the next ones are.
Yeah. I've been seeing this band since I was like a sophomore in college. In 1996.
1996 was your first show?
Or 97, 96 or 97. But in 96, fall of 1996, I got Under the Bushes, Under the Stars.
Okay.
And I had the CD on, I listened to it on a boombox, like must have been 1,000 times. And then I was like, oh my God.
What?
I was like, this is like changed my life. And then I got B-1000 and Alien Lanes, and the rest is history. They were like, yeah.
So the first one was Under the Bushes. What prompted you to get it?
I think a friend gave it to me.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I still have that CD.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The same original one that you
Same
bought.
original one, yeah.
Were there any songs that stuck out to you
Underwater Explosions is my absolute favorite GBV song.
to this day?
To this day, absolutely.
And that's the one that kind of got you reeled in?
Yeah, but the whole album, like, that record is like such a great, like, collection. Like, it just, like, everything works on it. Like, Red Men and Your Name is Wild. It's all, like, just wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, I started listening to it and I haven't stopped.
Cutout Witches on that
Cutout
one.
Witch, yeah. It's like, and I even to this day, like, I put it on if I'm having, like, a bad day or a weird day, and, like, yeah.
Yeah. So that led to, you said, B-1000 was next? Or?
I think that, yeah, the next one I picked up was B-1000 and then Alien Lanes. And that's when I saw my first Guided by Voices show. It was probably 96 or 97 in Portland, Oregon at a club called La Luna. And...
One more.
Bye! At a club called La Luna. And I just remember, like, the environment was fratty. Fratty. Like, there was, like, just a lot of big dudes with hats and, like, broad shoulders, and I felt very small at the show, and I felt like, I was gonna get jostled. Like, I didn't like to be jostled at shows.
Yeah.
So, over the years, I just started moving further and further back at the shows, but kept going.
Right.
I mean...
Last night you were right up front.
I know. Well, it's only been recently I've gotten, like, brave enough to be up front.
It's a lot now you have a lot of friends.
Now I have friends, yeah. So I mean, I would always go to Guided by Voices shows with, like, my friends who were not fans the way that I was, you know? And again, like, stand in the back. And but it wasn't until I met Dan Cortez in 2014 when Guided by Voices played at Toad's in New Haven, and that's when I started meeting people like like that also, like, were stupid crazy fans like me.
I have the same experience, you know, trying to get friends to go. It was always difficult.
They'd be like, oh, I already saw them. Or like,
you'd be lucky to get them to go once.
Exactly. So I went to, like, the show, like, the first show they played after the pandemic, I went by myself, in fact. Like, none of my friends wanted to go. They were like, it's too close to the pandemic. But then I made a last-minute, impromptu, really, like, very last-minute decision to go to the 40th show by myself.
By yourself?
By myself.
Did you know anybody in the community?
Dan Cortez.
That's it.
Dan Cortez. That was it. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I mean, I had been on, like, in the 90s, in early 2000s, like I was on the postal blowfish list, but I just read it,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I know you personally, and we've met through the GBV community, and I know for a fact that you have a lot of friends.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it makes the show so much more fun than just like being by yourself.
Yeah.
I have so much more fun now, but I used to have like, I had a handful when I was in Portland and when I was younger. Like, I had a couple of friends that were big fans, but then we've moved apart. So like, in the Nate Farley, Tim Tobias era, that's when like I would go with like some friends, but then over the years it just
that was the same for me. I especially the reunion era, like I wanted to catch every show I could. You just never know when it's over, and everyone was great. And after a while, just going to shows, I'd run into the same people over and over, and then you become friends. And then I heard about Heat Fest, and that was a game changer.
So I'd never heard about Heat Fest. I don't know why. It was just like not on my radar. I didn't hear about it until like until last year. Like, I feel like I should have heard about it, but some things like life happens and you're doing other things. And
yeah. So what are your thoughts on the GBV fan community?
It's amazing. It's like so much fun. And now like I feel safe being at the front of a show. And it's great to see more women. Like, that first show I went to, I was like, oh my gosh, there are literally no women. And I think the fratty men have kind of either aged, like grown up, or become less fratty and more like cool. Like, it's not, I mean, it's still a sausage fest, but it's like, it's more gentle.
Yeah. What did you think of Heat Fest? Was your first Heat Fest this past one?
Well, yeah, actually.
12?
Yeah.
Because you were at GBV 40.
Yeah.
You mentioned that.
Yep. That was the first show I traveled to.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I mean, I lived in Vermont and I went to a show in Boston, but that was probably the most, I mean, when I think of Heat Fest, it was awesome. It was so wonderful. It was so great to hear like songs that the band doesn't play. Like, that's the other thing. Like, all the tribute bands that have popped up, like, they're all so good, and they take these songs which are amazing and they make them their own, either in like little or big ways, and they become like they have a life of their own, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's just so many great songs. I mean, the band can't play them all, so it's so great. Yeah. And it's just so much fun to connect with so many people over this music. And when you're not a musician, like, you're like a fan, and that's like, it's like a form of love.
Yeah. That's one thing I like about Heat Fest is the cover bands, and I've been in one for the past year or so.
Yeah, your band is great.
Thank you.
I love it.
We just have a lot of fun. One of the things I like about the cover bands, and I notice it maybe more because I'm in one, is that each one brings their own personality.
Yeah.
So everyone, even GBV fans, there's some people like poppier songs, some people like,
There's something for everybody.
There's something for everybody, right? And the cover bands bring their own personalities and their favorites. And that's a cool, and like you said, you hear songs that you don't hear, the band doesn't play.
Yeah.
Generally. Sometimes sometimes you hear
exactly. Yeah. So it's like I feel like I've had more fun in the last year going to Guided by Voices shows than I did when I was younger. And I mean, I loved all of those shows. Like, they were all amazing. But now, like, experiencing it with like people is so much better than, it's like,
It's people with the same passion.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It just makes it so much more fun.
Yeah. So they're not looking at you like, why?
Right. Like, or how do you know all these songs? And like, why are you going to see that band again? Like, I think now I'm like, I've seen them almost 50 times in my life. And so, like, people are like, wait, how much money does this cost you? Like, what do you, like, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's,
Yep. Yep, they just don't get it.
feeds my soul. No, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so great to have other people that like feel the same way.
Yeah. So, what were the highlights for you of Heat Fest this past year?
Yeah, the bands were so great, and I also just love that like the band Guided by Voices, like they hang out at Heat Fest, like they're fans too, like you can tell, like they are not. Like, they're not there just, like, sitting at a table signing autographs because they have to. Like, they're also fans, and they like their fans, and they're part of the community. And that was, like, that's fun and cool to see. And, like, people come from all over the world. It's amazing. I had some good food. I had one, like, sandwich or something at Yellow Cab that was so good. And Wings was really fun, and you know, it is really nice, and like it is really nice to have like so many people descending on like this Midwestern city too. Like that like helps the economy, and just, like it's fun. Yeah, it was so great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and just like running into people and seeing people, and yeah, like there aren't a lot of like ways like this that adults can like congregate and have fun in this way. Like I guess if you play golf, or if you do like maybe you play on like an adult sports team, or I don't know, maybe if you play poker, I don't know, but there aren't a lot of like this is the whole problem in our world. Like there's a whole epidemic of loneliness, and I don't feel lonely anymore. Like yeah, this is like how we are all not suffering from that condition.
Yeah, it's almost like that Blind Melon song, the video where the girl's a little bumblebee, and she found all of her bumblebee friends.
Yeah.
That's what it's like being in the GBV community.
Right.
We all kind of just found each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we found each other through the music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you said Underwater Explosions?
That's my favorite song ever. I mean, there's so many great songs too.
Can you maybe name a few of your top ones?
I think Mars Classroom is a great album. Like, I think everything on that. A New Theory of Everything is such a great song. I really like Subspace Biographies. Recently discovered this song, I think on Suitcase 3 or 4. Maybe it was Suitcase 2, called Porpoise Mitten, which is so funny. It's such a funny song. You know, like all the classics.
Game of Pricks. Cutout Witch.
Teenage FBI. Gold Heart Mountaintop. Yeah, I shouldn't say this on camera, but like all of my like passwords are some variation of GBV songs.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
A GBV fan could hack all of my sites.
That's awesome. Yeah, but only them. And why would they do it? Like,
exactly.
You know, yeah.
I'm sure we're not alone with that.
No, yeah. There's there's so many great songs. I have a lot of playlists. Like, so I've had a lot of people over the years like say to me like, I've heard some GBV, I like them, but I don't know where to start. So I've made like some different like set playlists for people, like just to sort of like beginner list just to get into them. But I have a hard time doing that. That ends up being like 500 songs, like some deep cuts and some classics. And then I have a playlist of songs with like about like with women or girls names like brides of Fifth Glass, you know, Jane of the Waking Universe. Like, you know, anytime a song has like I think the playlist is called like Brides and Caroline and Jane or something like that. So female references like in song titles.
That's kind of cool.
And then I tried to make another playlist of like GBV songs that I thought children would like. Like I made it for my daughter when she was little, And she listened to it. Like, she knows GBV, but now she doesn't like it. Yeah. So, but because there are a lot of good songs that are like appeling for children.
You have some good compilation album ideas.
Thanks.
Right there.
Yeah.
The GB, I could see. You know how they have like, it's called Kids Bop.
Yep, Kids Bop. Oh yeah, and Rockabye Baby.
Could
yeah.
you imagine a GBV Kids Bop?
That would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing that's really cool about like the fan communities. People are so many different ages.
Yeah.
And different, like, yeah.
You see the little kids coming to the shows.
So wonderful. It's so wonderful. Yeah.
So what songs were on your GBV Kids mix? Do you remember?
White Paper Werewolves.
Okay. Bright
Bright Paper Werewolves. Moses on a Snail.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like songs like that.
Uh-huh.
I could pull it up. What else?
Yeah.
Yeah, like songs with like really goofy Johnny Appleseed.
Okay.
Like with like goofy themes like that.
I don't know if this is on there, but I can see like Little League Possible.
Oh yes. I think that one is, actually.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah, that's such a great kid song.
Yep, that's the first one I got my nephew Owen into.
Oh, nice. My daughter used to like that song as a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, because he hit a home run when he was a little
dude.
And I played that song for him, and that was his intro into
Yeah. So the first time I saw him play was last year at the 40th at that party, which was so much fun. So at 40th, I went by myself. And when I was having this idea, I actually texted Dan. I was like, hey, Dan, would it be crazy for me to go to GBV 40th by myself? And he's like, oh, no. He's like, no, not at all. Hey, I have an extra hotel room. I know this person with the extra ticket. Like, he, like, helped me arrange the whole trip.
Yeah.
So when I got there, we met up, and he introduced me to Tim and Allison and Brian. And I basically like glommed on to their group for that weekend. And where was the rest of the story going?
You talked about seeing our band at
yes. Oh, and yes. So we went to the I can't remember
Matthew
whose party.
LeClaire?
Yeah, the party. It was so much fun.
Yep.
They had a big GBV cake. It was awesome. And Owen was playing drums.
Yeah.
And he was rocking. Like he was just like, he didn't have a shirt on. He was very muscular, like really like, it was great. It was so much fun. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, we enjoyed that so much.
That was such a great party. Yeah.
Great
And that's
show.
where I met Sue. Actually, in Sue, I was chatting with Sue at that party, and she asked me when I was going home, and I said, oh, I'm going home on Sunday morning. And she's like, oh no, you have to stay. You have to stay on Sunday to go to Wings. That's like the best part of the weekend. I was like, what? What's Wings? Like, what is that? And like she explained, she's like, oh, it's just like a very casual hangout, and the band's there, and it's really relaxed and fun. And so like, I went back to the hotel, I changed my ticket, stayed an extra day, and it was amazing.
Nice.
And I met tons of people there at Wings too. Like, that's the other thing that I found about this community. Like, if you're kind of like a shy and awkward person, like I am, you can talk to anybody. Like, it's amazing. Like, everyone is so friendly. Like, nobody is standoffish. Like, I don't feel like there's like a exclusivity around the band or like, you know, any of the fans. It's, yeah.
It is the most accepting community I've been involved with. I mean, someone could walk in, if they walked in right now with a GBV shirt on and we didn't know them, have a seat, let's talk.
Totally.
Let's grab a beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What are there any lyrics over the years that kind of grab you or?
Oh my God, yeah. I have,
Jeez.
you know, I actually keep a written running list. A lot. Yeah. I'm not like thinking now, but I'll get back. Can I get back to you on that?
Sure.
Like I keep like a running list of quotes. And sometimes I work them into my teaching, into my PowerPoints, and nobody notices.
Yeah.
I used to do that a lot. Yeah. There's so many. Yeah. I'm like, I'm blanking at the moment, but there's a little crowd behind you. Yeah. Now this is gonna bother me because like I'm totally blanking, but yeah, the answer is absolutely yeah. I mean, look, I have like a GBV song running through my head most moments. Yeah, if I'm not focusing on something.
Yep.
Yeah, and like the Serene King, like that's the catchiest song. Like when I get that, well, Moses on a Snail is also very. I mean, they're all so catchy, but with Serene King, sometimes I get that in my head, and it's in my head for like days.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's one thing about GBV. Bob's lyrics, his melodies are super.
I mean, and his songs are like really fascinating. Like I just learned recently that Matter Eater Lad was a comic. I had no idea. And that like now it makes now the song makes perfect sense. Once I read about the character, he's like this insecure superhero who just goes around like making things and then eating them. And like now I get the song. It's perfect. And yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there are a lot of songs like that. Where it's like you can appreciate it like on a surface level, but then like the more you know, the more interesting it becomes.
Do you have any favorite Bob solo albums or side projects? You mentioned Mars Classroom.
Yeah, Mars Classroom. I think the Let It Beard album is great. So what's Nightwalker? Airport 5 is I think such a great album.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite songs is Let It Rest a Little While. I can't remember what Bob's solo album that's on at the moment. I think Speak Kindly of Your Volunteer Firefighter is a fantastic record. Kid Marine, like, I don't know. There's not a lot that I don't like, really, like that they make, that they do. Like, even the things that are sort of more, you know, like super lo-fi or people say are unlistenable, like that follows, like on an album, that follows like a poppy song and it works.
It all goes together.
Like all
somehow.
fucking, like that's why Under the Bushes, Under the Stars is such a great album, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Bob once that to me, all of his work is, it's going to sound cheesy. It's like, I don't know if I want this on the record, but it's like the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It all goes together, and you might have some part that's just sky, and everyone's like, well, what, you know, what's that part doing there? You could edit that out. No, you can't. It all goes together.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And it all makes sense.
It all kind of makes sense. Yeah.
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 So you, how many times have you seen them live, you said?
I think it's close to 50.
Close to 50.
Yeah, so I sort of stopped like count around, you know, in like the high 30s, I sort of lost count. But I've been seeing them since 1996.
Okay.
And every time they came to a city I was living, I would see them. Or I saw them like in, you know, festivals or whatever.
What cities have you seen them?
I've seen them in Portland, New York City, Boston, I get Brooklyn, where else? Oh, New Haven now. So that was all like places where, DC, Washington, DC. Those are all places that I've lived. But then I've traveled in the last year to, Nashville, Cleveland, Covington, Atlanta, Asheville. Yeah, here. Yeah.
What's the furthest you've traveled to see Guided by Voices?
Probably here, actually. Yeah, probably Texas.
Dallas.
Yeah, probably Dallas.
Cool.
Or Austin. Austin's further south. Yeah.
What did you think of this weekend of shows?
Amazing. They were such great shows. I mean, the thing about, like, I feel like when I feel like this group, like, this, like, iteration, so they've been playing together for, like, over 10 years, and they're really tight, and they've become like, you wouldn't necessarily get this from their albums, but they've like on stage they are so rock and roll, and it's amazing. Like, you don't always hear that in the records, but like these are like hard, like really serious rock shows, and they're tight. Like, these last 2 shows were amazing, and I had never seen 14 Cheerleader Cold Front live.
Yeah, so why did they play that?
Oh, yeah, because Allison, a super fan, organized like 14 people to wear these great cheerleading
Well, like
uniforms.
you said at the beginning, we're getting close to Halloween.
Close to Halloween, yeah. It was a Halloween costume. It was so great. It was so great. Although it was funny, like, she couldn't find 14 women.
But you ended up, how many cheerleaders were there in the end? I think there were a couple guys.
Yeah, 2 men, and I don't know, maybe there were like 12, 10 or 12.
There's plenty of pictures. We'll have to.
Yeah, they were great. It was great. It was brilliant. And it was like, I think it probably like meant a lot to Bob. Like, I mean, I think the only thing missing from last night's show was like there should have been a Halloween costume contest or something. Like, that's it, because there were some cool costumes.
Yeah. There were for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to see more of them.
Yeah, but I think what stuck out, clearly the 14 cheerleaders stuck out to him.
Yeah, and crazy
for them to play that song.
Yeah, so amazing.
That was
so
super
amazing.
Super cool.
Yeah, and last night, like, I usually take some pictures and videos, not a lot, but like last night I made a conscious decision not to take any because I wanted to be in the moment. And when like they pulled out that song, I mean, I think it was impromptu, and it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah, to me,
exactly like how it should have been.
To me, it was a nod to the fans. It was demonstration of love to the fans. You know.
Yeah.
Wow.
The fans willed it into existence.
100%.
Yeah, and Allison did that. It's amazing.
Yep. Allison does some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Allison.
Total shout out. Yeah, and it's like
fan gatherings, compilation album.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like, she brings a lot of people together. And other people do too. It's really like wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely. You've met Bob a few times. What did you say to him?
So the first time I met him was in 2014 when they played at Toad's in New Haven, and with Dan. Of course, like, you know, Dan like brought me backstage, and like he's just like he opens doors, that guy. And that was the first time I met Bob, and I told him my favorite song was Underwater Explosions, and he sang it. And I've met him like a smattering of times since then, and he's just like super chill and like down to earth. And I always say the same. I also always say thank you to him. Like, thank you. Like, his music's been like the soundtrack of my life. Like, I was like, in 1996, I was a sophomore in college. I was like a little kid, and now I'm almost 50. Like, my life. I mean, it's been there. Like, it's like one of the few constants in my life.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss about Guided by Voices?
I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna get back to you. So all of the different like iterations of like the people that Bob has played with have been like, cool and fun, and yeah, exactly. It's great. Yeah.
Well, cool. I think
it's my favorite topic to talk about. Yeah.
I appreciate you taking some time to discuss Guided by Voices today.
Thanks.
I also love talking about Guided by Voices. It's fantastic. Any final message to Bob?
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.